New office setup. Who this? No, I'm just kidding. It's still RJ. It's the best intro I could think of, and it's still Sunday, so we're still going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Even though it was a slow holiday week, we don't take bankers' hours here, so we've got Evolve Bank and Trust in the news. Unfortunately, for a security breach or cyber incident, as they're calling it, we have American Express making some changes to the Schwab Platinum, as well as opening a new lounge, and of course, we have Chase, who might be entering the premium card market once again. So, of course, all that and more. So, if it sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, for the channel faithful, really quick here, yes, new office setup, because the new headquarters of Profitable Content moved, which means we just got a new house. I think it's echoey. I'm not really sure, but I don't have a lot of stuff. I'll put a quick tour of it, of the new office setup. The problem is I don't like a lot of stuff. I already added a rug to help with the echo. I didn't even want that. So you can let me know down below how we sound. And what we should do with this space. I feel like a third monitor behind me is probably the answer. But anyways, that's not really why you're here. So let's get into it here with the reason you are here with the news. And again, starting with Evolve Bank and Trust. So here's the deal. Evolve Bank is the bank behind many, not all, but many of the fintech neobanks that we deal with in banking products. You're probably more familiar if you follow Run on the Bank, the second channel for bonus hunting, or profitablecontent.com. Because you'll see Evolve Bank, and I don't know every bank they're part of. The good doctor did post something about it, and he had things like Wise and Melio on there, Mercury, for example, things that we've covered, things that we used. Well, again, they had a data breach, and so they've got a press release out, which is actually fairly helpful. So let's talk about it. Put the whole thing on screen for you. Again, it is linked for you in full at profitablecontent.com. So this goes back to May, and I think technically February as well, but in late May, Evolve Bank and Trust identified some of its systems were not working properly. While they initially appeared to be hardware failure, they of course learned it was unauthorized activity. They engaged cybersecurity specialists to sort it out, and within days had seen no new unauthorized activity since May 31st. So again, that's helpful. So the bullet points: ransomware attack by the criminal organization Lockbit. They appeared to gain access to our systems when an employee inadvertently clicked on a malicious internet link. No evidence that they got anyone's money, but they did access and download customer info from our database. File share periods during February and May. So this has happened for a while. There you go. It somewhat sucks because these things keep happening. So again, all you can do is kind of keep an eye out, go change your passwords. Again, many of us probably do have accounts, that pass through Evolve Bank in some capacity, and just kind of keep your eye out for the update to see how bad it really is, or what they say first. I'm sure there'll be some kind of class action eventually, but for right now, just more of a heads up. It's really hard to avoid these things in this game, especially when a lot of companies go through one point. It does become a large point of failure, but such is life, I guess. I don't really have a good one for you, just more of an update. So continuing on, Robinhood Gold card has always been a fascination one here, and we talked about it a few weeks ago. It was like, hey, where in the world is the gold card? Well, it's out now and in the hands of customers, and when it gets in the hands of people like us, well, they do what you think they would do, and they try to pay their taxes with the card. And it turns out, according to a few Reddit posts that I found, that this is a no-no with Robinhood Gold card. You'd want to do this, of course, because the Robinhood Gold card is 3% back on everything. I myself, in this drawer over here, have a property tax bill for like $4,800. And with a 2.8% processing fee, right? Paying your federal taxes is generally cheaper. It's like 1.8%, I think. But still, you can see the benefit of a 3% card. It will cover all that, and you'd still make a little bit for something you had to pay anyways. Well, these folks on Reddit report that you can't actually do that. So this gentleman writes, or lady writes, got my card last week, need to pay CP 2000 from IRS, use the same digital payment as IRS endorses, probably like pay 1040 or something like that, I think is the cheap one. Then got a text from Robinhood: transactions declined, paying taxes and loans are not supported. Official text decline message from Robinhood: unsupported transaction. Looks like he had a bill for $1,500. Sucks. U.S. Treasury payment, loan and tax payments aren't supported. So that sucks, really. I'm not going to go so far as to say that's a bait and switch type deal. Robinhood, it's entirely possible they disclose that in the card member agreement. I don't know. We didn't really read through it. We were more so looking at the shiny gold card on the 3%, the fee you had to pay to join Robinhood Gold. Loan payments, I can see everyone's cracked down on loan payments. Loan payments, I don't believe for a second they're risky, but you can back yourself into making the argument of they're risky because you're paying debt with debt. Now you have a choice to, do I continue paying my car loan, mortgage, whatever? Do I pay my Robinhood card back? That's generally the argument these guys make. Plus, the payments would just go insane. They'd be paying out so much points. So fine, fair. Taxes has become a touchier subject as of late. We've seen some folks have to fight with, I think, Amex, for example, and a few others, not just American Express, but to get their tax payments to count. So it is annoying. I imagine these aren't the only things that are going to be blocked, but if you were thinking about that, I just be aware of it. Do I think it kills the card? No, I mean, it probably does kill some big use cases, but that is one downside when we would deal with companies who know us, right? That Robinhood primarily marketed to people like us. They know us. They're kind of, out there. So I guess it's to be seen. These places are wising up. So there you go. But in addition to them wising up, so is American Express and Charles Schwab. So American Express and Charles Schwab are putting a cap on the cash out rate for the Schwab Platinum card. So this card's been through it as of late. It used to be a higher redemption. Now it's down to 1.1, which is still good because membership reward cash outs, as you know, are 0.6 normally. Schwab still gets you 1.1. Nothing to write home about, but for American Express, you might as well have struck gold. Again, if you have like a business platinum, like a checking account, you can do 1 cent per point there as well. But again, they are now capping it. So specifically from their site, from their post, important note. Starting October 1st, 2024, the rate for redeeming membership reward points for deposits will change. Basic card members will be able to redeem membership reward points for deposits to their eligible Schwab account at a rate of 10,000 points for $110, 1.1 basically, for up to 1 million points, after which they may continue to redeem points at a rate of 10,000 points for an $80 deposit, 0.8 cents, for the remainder of the calendar year. So the good news is it's only for the calendar year. I mean, you gotta be churning and burning to have 1 million points. I'm sure some people can do it, especially if you probably got you're like a serious business user of this. But even then, I mean, that's how the Blue Business Plus is capping out at $50,000 a year in spend. So the real question for this is who went so hard, so fast with this that they had made this rule? Because someone had to do it. If it's one of you guys, I would love to hear from you just because that's an amazing story and they should name the rule after you. Now, I don't think it'll affect that many people here, so we're just going to keep moving along. What would American Express do with their portion of that savings? So I do think Schwab probably pays out the extra points on that one, but this fits my transition better. American Express opening a new Centurion Lounge, this time in Tokyo's Haneda Airport. So not stateside, but as Americans, we do have to realize other places do exist sometimes. I know it's hard. So anyways, we don't know a ton of details yet. Grab this from the good doctor who posted it. So we just really know the size. It's 7,352 square feet. And it's launching sometime in 2025. So there you go. Seems somewhat small, but again, I'm not going to tell you. I really not know much about the lounge setup and lounge culture over there. I could just be a us problem. I don't know. So if you're an international traveler, let us know your thoughts. And of course, you pass through it next year and you're still subscribed, which you should be. Take some pictures, send them in. We do post viewer pictures. We love to see it. We love the participation, and we'll get you something plugged if you want for your troubles. Our live correspondence going international now. Now, we talked about American Express's, normal people top tier flagship cards in the platinum. Well, Chase has one too, and that is the Sapphire card. Then they have their Halo card being the JP Morgan Reserve. There's kind of that gap in between getting from Sapphire to JP Morgan Reserve, where they have banking products, but they don't have necessarily a card to support it. Well, now we have a good rumor, again, posted from the good doctor, that says Chase is internally working on Project Emerald, which will bring a new, or we presume, Emerald credit card to personal and business. So specifically, if you take a look, again, from the doctor, who does say this gentleman is credible, but again, it is just a rumor. Chase is planning to launch a new premium personal and business card by year's end. Project internally is known as Project Emerald and is believed to be tailored towards Chase private clients. Again, you do normally need about $150K in funds held with Chase to qualify for private client status. But again, some people have been able to get around it. Back in the day, private client actually bypassed 524 altogether. So we don't really know what this card's going to do. Now, private client's a little bit interesting because in the hierarchy, of course, they have like the Chase total checking and like regular people stuff like we have. Then there's actually Sapphire banking, which isn't really talked about a lot anymore. All you get is like a debit card. I mean, there are other perks, right? But like, are they perks that like you're really going to care about? No, I don't think so. We did a video way back when, like years ago. I've been doing this for a long time now, I guess. My old man moment. But we did a video on private or Sapphire banking, and aside from the cool debit card, which I think is made from the flimsy material that the Sapphire Preferred is, but I do collect debit cards, so I kind of want it. Maybe next time they have a promotion offer. That was like $75,000, I think, with Chase to get into Sapphire banking. And then of course private client is $150, and then private bank is the one that really gets you to the JP Morgan Reserve. Though if you get high enough up, I feel like you can make a call and get yourself a JP Morgan Reserve. Ask Sebi actually just unboxed one of his friends' JP Morgan Reserves, which is very timely. That's generally, I think, 10 million in under management. Not necessarily them managing it. It can be self-directed. Again, that's just from his video, which was pretty good. Just check it out. So there's that. Again, as we know, the JP Morgan Reserve is a carbon copy of the Sapphire Reserve, which isn't really that good of a card anymore, in my opinion. You still have the annual fee too, weirdly enough, for 10 million, still the annual fee. But they does have a few different things. You do get the United Club, which is access, which is what most people want. You get like your own personal banker, which I gotta imagine you'd already have one at $10 million, but I guess even if you're self-managed, it helps. Sure, why not? Someone can set things up for you, help you out behind the scenes, like, that could come in handy. I think they have a concierge line as well. So the real question is, like, there's that gap in the middle, right? Of like, there's nothing for private client. Private client would just have to get probably the Sapphire Reserve, and they don't feel as special. So I can sell you up more stuff. Makes perfect sense to fill that gap. The real question is, what could you do with the card, though? I mean, obviously, Emerald's a fun name. Sapphire and Emerald even makes sense, sure. But it can't be better than the Sapphire. Well, it had to be a little bit better than the Sapphire Reserve, but the problem is the Sapphire Reserve and the JP Morgan Reserve are the exact same thing. So it would probably be that, unless you want to make it to be this new card that people could have alongside the Sapphire Reserve, which doesn't really fit. So I'm kind of struggling with what they would put on it, honestly. I mean, I lean more towards lifestyle card. And it's entirely possible that whatever they put on there, credits, coupons, access, they just push up to the JP Morgan Reserve as well. Like, I don't think that would be too terribly hard to do. But I think that's really the last frontier we've talked about, I think, last week with, with being lifestyle and access to things, so you can use these cards year round. Because people like that, probably want that over necessarily points. So I think that's what they would have to do. I still think that life becomes a lot easier in Chase Lane if they address the Sapphire Preferred, Sapphire Reserve conundrum, where I do believe the Preferred is better card for the money. And we've talked about this all before. I think the Sapphire Reserve is the problem, and it needs something to be done. So what would they need to put on an Emerald card? It does make a lot of sense from a standpoint of selling books. I guess also you could ask, does it even matter from the standpoint of, we've used this analogy before, like, you go to, I don't know, a Mercedes, a Lexus, Acura, maybe something like that. There are features that they will charge for is where, like, Toyota and Ford don't. And like, why is that? Because these two people rarely should ever meet. These guys aren't really cross-shopping, so they don't ever really know. And it's entirely possible someone doesn't really care that, their card's the same. It's just, I have the Emerald one. And, I think American Express in this case is a big competitor because, Chase does have the ecosystem play, sure, but credit cards are like the one thing I could see people leaving for, and be fine, because again, the Platinum does offer a lot of things that Chase simply doesn't. So maybe that could be their play, and they're trying to defend against the Platinum card at this level, because again, the Sapphire Reserve is not a good comp to the Platinum card, in my opinion, at all. They're trying to do two different things, but it does mean that Chase doesn't have something to defend against the Platinum card at all. Especially, we believe the Platinum card is going to punch up higher in a fee soon, which soon-ish. The rumors on the Gold card right now, they just hiked the Platinum a while back, but eventually it'll get higher, or they'll introduce another tier. So I think they have to take that approach, and it gives them something to defend against, keep their clients in-house feeling special with the cool green one. And the good news is $150,000 isn't really that much money. I mean, if you like Chase brokerage services or things like that, you could definitely have 150,000 easily in a retirement account. So I don't think this will actually necessarily be like that far out of reach for other people if they want to go through the private bank and open their company checking account and all that. But this is the last thing I'll say is like the higher tier individuals are ones that like banks have all. I don't know if it's the higher tier people are just not interested in cards as much, or they just get the Centurion card or what. But even if you look at Bank of America, their premium elite card, which I just applied for and got denied, of course, after I said I wasn't going to apply for any more cards. But the tax bill, was just begging for a new bonus. When they introduced it like diamond honors status, to the platinum honors, they didn't do anything for the credit card. It stopped getting extra benefits. You still have to pay the annual fee. The same with Amex, the same with Citi. They don't really have anything. So I do think I don't know if that tier customer cares about these cards or not, but it still makes sense to have something to give them to keep them in so they don't have to go anywhere else. That's my final thought on this. I think we've said a lot for knowing nothing about the card, but it is fun to see. So let me know down below what you think the Emerald card would need to have to get you considering private bank or private client, with Chase. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the news. So of course, if you liked it, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week. And of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Of course, every single day over on ProfitfulContent.com. The channel's blog, always linked down below for you. We not only have the latest news stories, we have bank promotions, and of course, we have credit card offers. Nothing for Emerald yet, but maybe one day, who knows. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon this week.